Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in this evening. As you can see from the title, we are going to have a Q&A tonight. So you can ask some questions about different things that we've been discussing already. You can ask questions about self-healing. Anything you want to ask, I'm going to answer them according to the knowledge that I have studied over the past years. And I believe that it will shed some light into you. But I also admonish you to do your own research and to study it out for yourself. So tonight is about self-healing. We talked about self-healing on yesterday. We talked about the self, what the self is. And we came to a conclusion that the self is the mind. And that is the invisible part of us. And so I like to also refer to the self as a secret self because we can't see it, just like the wind. Can't see the wind blowing, but we can feel it. You can't see your mind, but you know that from the external happenings that something internal is happening as well. We know that the mind is in operation because of things we've manifested or attracted and the things that we repelled, or because things that have shown up in our reality, we know that it's because we have thought them into existence. I know we have all heard of the phrase stinking thinking, where your thinking stinks. And that usually deals with having a belief that opposes your true identity. You're thinking of yourself or about your situation, which opposes your true identity. So it's called stinking thinking. You're stinking, your thinking stinks. It lets off a foul odor. It's very pungent. And you can see that in your everyday life and in your circumstances. So we talked about how the mind is all. Everything in the universe deals with the mental, with the mindset. And through the power of your mind, you create the reality that you're seeing. Through the power of your mind, you manifest. Through the power of your mind, you can have success. Also, the flip side of that, those that do not know how to master their mind, because the mind needs to be mastered. I remember watching a show when I was younger, and I thought about that show maybe about 3 weeks ago, and I wondered whether or not the show still came on television. And one day I turned on the TV, which I don't really watch regular TV. It was like old shows on my smart TV. And so I turned that on, and to my surprise, that show came on. It was the little box that said, "This show is going to be aired and you can watch it." So I kind of chuckled because, again, the power of the mind, I manifested that because that was my thoughts. And I connected myself back to an emotional state that I had experienced about that show when I was a child. And so when the show came on and the genie came out of the bottle, she immediately called or addressed the man as master. And she immediately told the man, "I'll do whatever you want because you open up the bottle and you let me out," because she had been locked inside of the bottle for years. And so because he opened up the bottle and let her out, she now knew that that was her master and that she was to serve him in his purpose or serve his pleasures. Your mind, if you don't master it, it will master you. Your mind is to serve or to service you in your purpose here, but also into some pleasures that you have here in this reality. It's not just all about the negative side, but your mind also is to have and attract to you pleasures in this reality. And so he did not understand. The man in the show did not understand. How could she now say that she was his master? What has he done to earn it? And that's what he had asked her. What have I done to earn the position or the authority to be your master? And she said, because you opened up the bottle. That's what you've done. And now I am yours. Some of us need to open up the crown chakra and do a cleanse of the crown chakra in order for your mind to serve you in the full capacity. Some things need to be let out. You need to release some things from your mind. It's not about cutting people off or cutting things off. It's releasing and letting go. It's okay to release. I believe that releasing is a part of self-care. It's a part of you caring for yourself. Again, when I say self, I'm not just talking about this physical body that we have our spirit inside of, but the self meaning the mind. Releasing some things from the self, from the mind. You know, there's a song that says, free your mind and the rest will follow. What is the rest? What does the rest? And I know we think about rest meaning everything else that you want, you know, money, cars, houses, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, everything else that you desire in your life will follow. But rest also too, I think about the word rest in that song, I really believe that there is a rest. And rest is a part of self-care. So when you free your mind, the rest will follow. Having a free mind, free of pollutions, free of dogma, free of control, free of manipulation, free of trauma, free of holding on to things that has already served its purpose, and no longer is it serving you any good nor doing any good to those that are around you. Freeing your mind, and then the rest that you have been wanting. There is a great difference between sleep and rest. If you've ever talked to me and you've heard me and I text you back, or if you call me and I said, well, I was resting. Because when I'm asleep, that means I'm done here in this earth. My body is done and I'm going on. I'm ascending back. But when I'm resting, I'm at a state where I'm not caring about what is happening, because we talked about on yesterday, when the mind is at sleep, when the mind is at the dream state, it does not wonder what's happening with the body. It has no care about what's happening with the body when you are at rest. So thus, when you are at rest, you have no care about what is happening around you. You have no care or worry about your circumstances. We worry about what's going to transpire in our life. How are we going to pay our bills? How are we going to take a vacation? We have no money. How are we going to be able to buy food? When you are living in a state of worry, first of all, worry is a misuse of your mental real estate. Somebody type that in the chat that's listening to me. Worrying is a misuse of your mental real estate. When you worry about things, you're worrying about things. That means you're rolling that thought in your mind over and over again, sort of like the hamster on the hamster wheel. You're rolling it over and over. And that thing becomes where it's sitting up on the inside of you, and you become depressed, you become sad, because you are worrying about how you're going to pay your bills. You're no longer in peace. Rest is the antithesis of the what's the word I'm looking for? Rest is peace. Rest put you or positions you in the state of peace. But when you're worrying, you're telling the mind that I don't trust you, that I don't believe that good things are going to happen for me. I don't believe that my life situation and things that are happening in my life are going to be taken care of. So that's how we have to keep our mind in a state of rest, and we also keep it in a state of peace. And so, again, cleansing the crown chakra, taking the lid off, like the genie, like the master, which he was a person in the military. He took off the lid, and that really represents you when let all the air out, let everything out. Air everything out, release it. That's what that smoke that was in that genie bottle, that's what it represents, to let it all out, to release and to let go. Releasing and letting go is self-care. Right now, there may be some things that you need to release. And this is all a part of self-healing. Self-healing, you're healing the mind. You're deconstructing the mind from the program that keeps you in a repeated cycle. You're deconstructing your mind or your mental faculty from the things that you're constantly telling yourself about what has happened in your lifetime. It's a deconstruction of the mind and the body, because what's happening in the mind shows up in the body. What's transpiring in the mind shows up in your body. We don't die from stress. Stress is not the thing that kills us. And I know that medical doctors have all said that, but I really believe what kills us and what ails us, what causes us the most problem is the mind. Our mindset about who we are. But when you change your mind about you change your mind about your life. Your entire life will change. I remember when I was a couple of months back, I experienced a situation in my body. And as I laid there in that bed, the only thing I began to think of, and I really was in a mental war. If you understand what a mental war is, that's when your thoughts, you're fighting your thoughts and your emotions. Is almost like if you ever seen Pac-Man and a whole bunch of the little things come out at one time. It's like so many things were coming at me at one time. So I was in a war, but I knew that I had to fight the good fight. I knew my burning desire was to be healed. And so because I had that burning desire, I had a will to live. I had a will to survive. And so I began to imagine myself, and this is the power of the mind. This is how the mind can heal the body. This has been medically proven, scientifically proven, that the mind can heal the body. The same way diseases gets inside the body, it's the same way you can remove the disease out of the body. The word disease means dis-ease. Anything that's separating you, dis means to dislocate, to remove, or disposition, displace. So anything that's causing you a dis-ease, it's causing you to now feel separate from your authenticity, from your secret self, from your divine self. Because at the end of the day, you are divine. At the end of the day, you are divine. Say that out loud. If you can't write it in the chat, say that out loud. I am divine. You are divine at the end of the day. So she opened a bottle. She let out everything. She came out, the smoke, the purple smoke. There's a phrase that said, when the smoke clears. You just need to change your mind so that the smoke can clear. You just need to take off the stinking thinking so that the smoke can clear. There's another song that says, I can see clearly now that the rain is gone. You got to see clear that the rain is gone. So the smoke came out of the genie, out of the bottle. And because the smoke came out of the bottle, she now was free. Once you let the smoke out, once you release the negativity, everything that's inside of you, those beliefs, it seems like every time I get on live, I get a little choke up. Next time I'm going to have me some water here. And so you release, excuse me, you release everything that's in your mind that's causing a dis-ease, causing you not to feel at ease within your own body, because this is home. Your body is home. Say that out loud. My body is home. This is your home. This is your kingdom. The word kingdom, and we can use that word. I'm going to write that down because I want you to see it for yourself. The word kingdom, 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 kingdom. Let me write that down. Okay. First of all, it is a compound word, king and then dome. King means sovereign, ruler. Dome deals with this dome. You ever heard people say my dome? And when you think about domicile, it deals with home. This is home. So kingdom means sovereign ruler of the mind. There is a kingdom. There's a place of rulership inside of us. You rule from your mind. Whatever you allow to exist will exist in your reality. Whatever you say no to will be the same thing that says no to you. If you think of failure, then failure will come to you. Someone is typing a statement. I want to make sure that I Superdome. I like that. So if you think of failure, then failure is going to come to you. If you think of success, then success is going to come to you. How is it coming? Because you have to remember, you are magnetic. You are electric. You are of massive energy. You ever walk into a room and you walk into that room and then all of a sudden you feel static? You feel like this electrical shock? That's that current coming into connection with your current. And it caused a static shock to go out of your body into whatever it is that you came in contact with. That's how powerful you are. We are powerful beings. Say that out loud. I am a powerful being. I'm unstoppable. I'm irrefutable. I am sovereign. I am the one mind. I am God, the mind. I am the light that slowed down to visibility. I am self-aware of all these things about myself. So self-healing means to heal your little self, for the lack of a better word, to heal the false identity that you have imposed upon yourself. You have imposed. Yeah, I know what may have happened when you were a child, but you've carried that thought about yourself in your mind and your body, and it has showed up in your reality. So thus now, if you've grown up in a poverty neighborhood, now poverty has been the thing that has been running in the background on your motherboard. And every time you hear about money, this thing of guilt comes over you. Like it's a sin to have money, or it's a sin to like money. It's not a sin to like money. I like money, and money likes me. Money is a currency. And every time you pretend that you don't like it, you repel it. You push it further and further away from you. Money wants to be invited in. Just like everything else in your life wants to be invited in. Money is a part of the divine plan for you. Money is metaphysical, some metaphysical energy. And you have to be one with it, come into the same frequency of it in order for it to manifest. So I'm going to open up the line now just for the next, got about 8 more minutes. If you have any questions that you want to ask, you can ask those questions right now. Doing a recap of the study that we did about self-healing, and then the next day I'll move on to the next subject. But I wanted to do a recap, and I wanted to open up the line so that you can ask questions based off what we have already talked about before we move on to the next subject. If you have any questions about self-healing, any at all, it's okay. If you don't, if you do. Self-healing is healing the inner self, because when you are not healed, that means you're separating yourself from the self and you're identifying with something outside of you. In order to heal yourself, you're going to have to go within and stop pulling distractions in from the outside, because those things are distractions. Pain in the body, sickness in the body. When I was ill, I used my mind because it was a distraction, and I knew that it was a distraction at that particular point. But here's the caveat to that. I called for that challenge. I gave myself that challenge. I gave myself that struggle. Why? So that I can become more conscious or self-aware, so that I can achieve success. But it wasn't just something that I just gave myself, just that only. I was given little whispers. The spirit, the universe was giving me whispers. Then I got a little pat saying, hey, what you doing? You need to make a shift. You need to pivot. You need to alchemize some things. And because I ignored the whisper and the little tap on my shoulder, here comes the loud shout. And that loud shout was sickness. Just look back over your life. What has been the running theme over your life? I can say sickness has been one of the running themes over my life. And I know that when a sickness comes in of that magnitude, that is a sure indication that there is a shift that's going to happen for me. And I remember when I was a little kid, and I heard some stories that were told, but there are some things that I do remember happening to me when I was a child. I remember when I was an infant, probably under the age of 1, I was left in a house fire. And everybody got out of the house fire. And then my papa, which was my granddad, we called him Papa, he remembered that that baby was in the house. And he said, oh, Lord, that baby is still in the house. We need to go get that baby out of the house. And as soon as they came into the house and got me out, the entire house collapsed. The roof collapsed in the house. Then next year, at the age of 2, I was ran over by a drunk driver. And from what I'm told by my aunt, I was lifeless. And the town that we were in or from in Alabama was a very small town. So we had to drive about 25 miles to the hospital, which was a very small hospital. And my aunt and my uncle drove me to the hospital. My parents at that time were out of town on business. And so they drove me to the hospital. And when I got there, I ended up staying in the hospital for 2 weeks at that time. Then I had other little things that had took place just sick, just different type of sicknesses that took place in my childhood. Just things that people would say, well, how did that happen? Having blood, where I only had 4% of blood in my body at one time. And then one of my kids' kidneys were not functioning, but yet I'm still walking around. And the doctor said, I don't know how you're still walking around. And you're walking around as though you're fine. Then having to be hospitalized not long ago for a major illness and having to have surgery because of that. And that was a pivot. What has been the running sign? What has been the running theme in your life? Whatever that theme is, that is your indication. That challenge that you have brought into your life, that's your indication. That's your indication that an opportunity awaits you. Something big is waiting for you on the other side of that. And I knew that I needed to make a pivot because I heard the whisper and I ignored it. I felt the little tap and I ignored that. Then here comes the loud shout. That was the sickness. And guess what? We don't have to wait for the shout. Don't wait for the shout. Move, pivot, change, turn and go the other way. Don't be like Jonah in the Bible, where he ran from his assignment because of your apprehensiveness about what other people are going to think about you. Who cares about what other people are thinking? They don't even think highly of themselves. Most people don't think highly of themselves. Most people think about what other people are thinking. Therefore, they stop doing or will not do what they want to do with their life because they're worried about the opinions of other people. Most people don't even know who they are. And you're worried about what other people who don't know who they are think about you, when I've been telling you only 10% of the people in the world are self-aware. But the world is calling for you to be authentic. The world is calling you to align with your inner or your secret self. Forget what they say. There was a book when I was young that said, they say. And I've even heard some teachers say that. And I even used to say that with my children. They would say, well, they said, who is they? Who is they? Don't come tell me nothing about what they say. They don't have a heaven. They don't have a hell. They don't have a window. They don't have a pot. They don't have nothing that can stop you. The only person that can stop you is you. The only reason why you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing is because of you. It's nobody else. It's nobody else. And it's the imaginary people that you're making up in your mind. We're making up characters to go in our movie reel. We're making up people. That's the same thing about the story of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Those were made up characters. Those are metaphysical characters that have been made up. Same story about Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. It's made up characters to let you know you've had the power all along. It's always been with you. All you had to do was click your heels together. You've always had the ability. You've always been sovereign. You've always been enough, more than enough. You've always been capable. You've always been qualified. You were born with the goods. You were born for this. You were made for this. You came into this earth atmosphere on the right timeline. You're not a minute too early, not a minute too late. You came here to make a difference. You are a difference maker. That's why you're here. And it is your time to shine. You have a light, but you're allowing what other people say to put the cap on your light. When The spirit world and everybody else, the collective conscious community, is saying, take the lid off, just like the genie, just like the master took the genie, the cap off the genie. Take the lid off so that you can shine bright like a diamond. So that the world can see you illuminating and glowing and vibrating and living and taking charge of your life. Because remember, you are the only one here. This is your world. You set the tone for your life. You set the tone for your life and for everybody else that's around you. It's you. It's you. And it's your time. It's you and it's your time. That's my time for today. I hope you all have enjoyed this teaching for tonight. I love you. Bye.